The Zodiac Killer, Code of Death. The world was gripped with fear in the late 1960s as a mysterious serial killer terrorized Northern California. He called himself the Zodiac and taunted the police and media with cryptic letters, ciphers, and chilling threats. His identity remained unknown, and his puzzles baffled even the brightest minds. The Zodiac Killer, Code of Death, delves into the dark psyche of this enigmatic figure and the deadly game he played. The first confirmed attack occurred on December 20, 1968, on a cold, moonlit night in Vallejo, California. Teenagers Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were parked along a lover's lane when an unknown assailant approached their car. Without warning, he fired a series of shots, killing them both. The brutality shocked the community, but it was only the beginning. 7 months later, on July 4, 1969, another young couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, were ambushed at Blue Rock Springs Park. A man stepped out of the darkness, flashlight in hand, and began shooting. Darlene died, but Michael miraculously survived despite multiple gunshot wounds. He described the killer as a stocky man with short hair, but it wasn't enough to identify him. Then came the letters. On August 1, 1969, 3 major newspapers, the San Francisco Examiner, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, received nearly identical letters from someone calling himself the Zodiac. Each letter contained a piece of a cipher, which he claimed would reveal his identity. He demanded they publish the codes or he would continue killing. The newspapers complied, and soon, amateur codebreakers and cryptographers tried to decipher the symbols. A few days later, a schoolteacher and his wife cracked the first cipher. It read, in part, "I like killing people because it is so much fun," but it contained no real clues to his identity. Meanwhile, Zodiac struck again. On September 27, 1969, college students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking at Lake Berryessa when a man in a black executioner-style hood approached them. He brandished a gun and claimed he was an escaped convict. After tying them up, he stabbed them repeatedly before leaving behind a chilling signature. He drew a crosshair symbol and the date of the attack on Brian's car door. Cecilia later died, but Brian survived to describe the horror. Just 2 weeks later, on October 11, 1969, cab driver Paul Stein was murdered in San Francisco's Presidio Heights. A witness saw the suspect, a man matching previous descriptions, wiping down the cab before casually walking away. Police responded quickly, but a miscommunication led them to believe they were looking for a black suspect, allowing the killer to slip away. Shortly after, the Chronicle received another letter from Zodiac, this time containing a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt. He mocked the police for their failure to catch him and hinted at future killings. Over the next few years, Zodiac continued his cryptic correspondence, sending letters filled with taunts, bizarre symbols, and threats of mass murder. He even claimed he had planted a bomb in a school bus, spreading further panic. Some of his ciphers remained unsolved for decades. Despite an extensive investigation, Zodiac was never identified. Many suspects emerged, including Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester whose background matched certain aspects of Zodiac's profile. However, no definitive evidence linked him to the crimes. The killings eventually stopped, but the legend of the Zodiac Killer never faded. His unsolved ciphers, eerie letters, and the lingering mystery kept investigators and amateur sleuths chasing his shadow for decades. Was he a disturbed loner? A criminal mastermind? Or did he die before the truth could be revealed? The Zodiac Killer, Code of Death, remains one of history's most haunting mysteries, a killer who reveled in fear, played with the minds of the police, and vanished into the darkness, leaving behind a chilling puzzle that may never be solved.